Hey everybody, welcome back to Throttle Grotto. This episode we're going to talk about what to take to your first rallycross event. Stay tuned. So this week I've been prepping the NX for the last race of the season, and honestly there wasn't much to do. I had to put the speedometer back in because it broke and a bunch of other stuff. Anyway, not important. What is important is telling you what you should take to your first rallycross. Now, the most important thing on the list that you should take to your first rallycross is your helmet. Because you got to protect your noggin. And a lot of times there's restrictions on helmets, so don't just grab any old helmet you have laying around, like a bicycle helmet or anything like that. Of course, you guys are smarter than that. You need a helmet that has a Snell rating of 2005 or newer. Now, if you peel back the innards of your helmet, you can actually look down in there and you see that sticker, and that is the Snell rating sticker, and that one shows 2010. So I've got probably 5 more years left before I have to change this helmet out for racing, and then it'll be time for a new helmet because that'll be about 15 years old. So make sure your helmet meets the Snell rating, and your promoter may have different regulations, but check with your promoter if you have any questions before you go, so that way you know if your helmet's going to make the cut. The second thing you're going to need is blue tape. The reason this comes in handy is because you're going to have to put numbers on your car, and this is the easiest and cheapest way to do it. Now, if you want to get fancy and buy some numbers and stick them on the side of your car, that's cool too. But you want to make sure they're about 3 foot high so that course workers can read them all the way across the field that you're going to be racing in and when they're covered in mud. So if you have a blue car, don't take blue tape. Put them on, or put it on your windows. Number 3 that you're going to need is some kind of sun protection. I recommend taking an umbrella and sunscreen. And the reason for that is you're probably going to be standing in a field during your work assignment, and you really need to keep yourself out of the sun. It's a long day doing a rallycross event. If you're working in the morning and racing in the afternoon, you want to be fresh and staying out of the sun, not being sunburnt and all that stuff. So definitely take some sort of umbrella with you, and don't take a red one. Because that will get people on the course. As soon as you pop that thing open, you're twirling it around, people are going to confuse it for the red flag and stop on course, and that's going to cause a delay. So that makes your day longer. And most of the time, the promoters aren't even going to let you take a red umbrella out on course. So take something other than red. So the fourth thing that you need to take with you is a full-size spare. Now, if you're racing in stock class, hopefully you got a set of snow tires off of Craigslist or something like that that you can either throw on at the track or put on before you leave and drive there. But make sure you take a full-size spare. Most organizations will not let you do rallycross on a donut. So you definitely don't want to show up DB'd and then have no option to either get home or not be allowed to race any for the rest of the day. The fifth thing you need to take some kind of jack. Now, it could be the jack that comes with your car, but they're generally not very stable. So get something, even like this little trolley jack is going to be a lot more stable and safe than your one from your car. That is not a substitute for a jack stand. So if you're going to be underneath the car, which could happen, take a jack stand with you as well. And maybe a piece of wood to set underneath your jack in case you're changing a tire in a muddy field. And the last thing to take is some kind of lug wrench, whether it's an electric one, like an impact, or a breaker bar and a long socket, something you can use All right, and the last thing I suggest taking to a rallycross is something to change your tires with. So whether it is a breaker bar and a socket, or an electric impact, which is what I would suggest if you have one. Regardless, you don't want to be using your little your wrench that came in the car to change the tire. Of course, it'll work in a pinch, but this is much quicker, and this is even quicker still. So if you have something like this, take it. But a lot of times in a rallycross, you only have 10 minutes to change your tire. So the quicker you can make it on yourself, the better off you are. What else would you take to a rallycross? Leave it in the comments below. So those are the 6 things that I'd suggest taking to your first rallycross. If you haven't done rallycross before, check out some of the other videos I've got. I'll put a link to them up here. How to read the course, what to expect on your first rallycross. Hopefully this gets you a little more prepared for your first event, and go out there and have a little fun sliding around in the mud. Until next time, get out there and work on something.